There are many people out there concerned about lone wolf attacks about to go down in mass in America because of a signal that is believed to have been sent out from Iran about a week ago, as a lot of people are shaking in their boots. But the targeting of Americans that they should be more concerned with is actually a podcast that I made 10 years ago, right? Relates to the targeting of white Americans, but not on the level that they might think, not on the level that they might allege, in a different level, in more of a mind control level, to target them to create a psychosis using technology in their minds collectively to a blind worship of certain politicians like Trump, along with a blind hate or fury towards the others, which in reality have done very little to them. And so we're living in a world also right now where the systems of control, as they have destroyed the U.S. economy, as they have directed the U.S. into war upon war, endless war upon endless war, they are the ones that, of course, want people to blame immigrants and welfare for why the country is in the situation that it's in, right? So the real targeting taking place, the real signal being going out, the real thing that we need to talk about is this subliminal influence over this society to kill, to destroy, right? To get its self-esteem from wars, to not be able to see the lies in front of it, to not have an intuition. They really had to, do some homework on this society and work over this society to be able to get 99.99999 or more percent of this society to go along with a certain frequency or attitude, right? But right now, as people are being force-fed, if you will, through the algorithm, stories about, Iranian signals being, sent out to tell people to commit attacks, it creates a mental illness. It creates a hysteria. And that's what we have. We have an hysterical population. We have people that have killed before and they want to kill again. And that describes a lot of veterans that are falsely described as heroes. A lot of them are not heroes. And that's what we're dealing with. And a lot of people that have been called terrorists, been called villains, a lot of people that have been called the bad guy, were just regular fathers trying to defend their wives and children. It's like each day I wake up more and more in a world where I'm shown how evil the world really is. How, the evil that I thought was going on, I get validation. What I thought was taking place with intuition, I see, right? And so the future is a lot of torture and sexual abuse. I've been warning about it nonstop. And that fatigues me. But if I don't come back and talk about these things in chunks, I end up fatigued and sluggish through days of inaction, right? So people are racially profiling and looking for sleeper agents under every rock, basically. And while the internet is a different world, it's not the real world. It is a proper gauge and guide, right, into what people are saying. Like when you're dealing with next door, you're dealing with what your neighbors are saying, right? So if your neighbors are going a direction of, who cares if they're innocent? Just go ahead and, round them up and rape them and put them in a dungeon and no due process and don't give a fuck. That's bad. And that's basically the energy current taking place here, right? In other news, the Palestinian woman who was detained for a year by ICE, she has been released. Her last name is Cordia. So that is one positive thing that I can report on. Maybe they were forced to. She did have a seizure. So we are dealing with the reality of ICE deaths going up. And this is a particular region where there are a higher than average amount of in custody deaths. There's even one story that I read from the Dallas Observer about how one person was kept in the local jail for 180 days. And there's nothing legally, right, to hold them accountable like there is in other places. So it's barbaric, folks. It's barbaric. It's barbaric how they've set up this system here. That's how I can easily see what's happened to their children. And, you know, people that have been here for a while, they see what's happening with the young people. They see the next wave of it. It's going to be much worse in the years ahead or when they become adults. And then on top of that, with the signal going out, you have the Congress member from Tennessee echoing what Gomez has said and others have said about rounding up the Muslims, which is Nazi shit. I have a podcast that I made a couple months ago on my Substack blog about how what we're going to go through is a reincarnated Nazi Germany where the new Jews are Arabs or Afghans, Middle Eastern people. This is not something new. Okay, this is not something new that I'm saying. This is something that I've been saying since the beginning. And that's what's going to set me apart from the conspiracy theory movement. Nobody speaks like that in the conspiracy theory movement. When they speak about Middle Eastern people, when they speak about mixed race people, it's always from a white genocide. They're anti-white, they're this, they're that. It's from a radicalized perspective. And for these many people, for these many years to continue to talk like this and to not open up their heart when faced with alternative information, the truth basically, they spit in the face of the truth. Who would do that? What type of entities would spit in the face of the truth when this is about life or death? What type of people would care, act like they care about the Palestinians, but shit on the Afghans, the Iraqis, and everybody else, and act like they're a biological weapon? Because essentially that's the narrative that I'm seeing. I still believe that they are setting the stage for concentration camps and massive death of these people. Why would I not believe that? Look at how many wars they've already launched. Look at how many wars they plan to launch. Even when we're dead, they'll still be launching these wars. And we'll be looking at these wars from the grave, from whatever perspective of consciousness we have from the grave. And I think about it all the time, each and every day, praying to God for that knowledge and information and safety in going to the grave. Because we live in a world where we're going to die. At what point, I don't know, but we're going to die at some point, and I'm attempting to be the philosopher here, not the warrior. Although I believe in martial arts and I believe in working out, haven't worked out actually in weeks. I've been very, very down. So I've really been feeling the energetics of the whole war, basically. I haven't recorded anything until now, and now I need to record just to get my energy going, just to get my blood flowing. Okay, and talk about this, right? So I just made a video how we need a form of spirituality to counter what is taking place. And then here, you know, I'm letting you know that I think that there are subliminal signals that are out there that are really driving some of the thoughts, even phrases and statements, vocabulary terms, so on and so forth, right? It's just like that scene from Superman when Lex Luger appears in Superman's mind as he's talking to Superman in that late 1970s movie. The technology existed then, voice to skull, and the technology exists now. And I believe that there may have been some technology, maybe even what some people might call demonic or alien technology, used on the population to make them think that Donald Trump is the Messiah. And now, right now, we're looking at the next level of it with this solar maximum period, right? With solar flares, with geometric storms. Some of you don't know this, and you need to listen very closely. In some individuals, it can mimic characteristics of schizophrenia, right? They know this about the population. Now, they know that there are certain periods that people can tend to act and react in quote-unquote crazy ways, right? So they can manipulate that to their own benefit, knowing that humanity can be driven historically to genocides, knowing that humanity has a certain amount of susceptibility. The special interests, the real powers that be, that want to see this genocide in the Middle East, that want those people gone. They engineer everything. They engineer many of the terror attacks, if not the very circumstances that motivate some people to become terrorists to begin with. But in those situations, those are minimal. Okay? So there is a greater signal being sent out, which is straight out of 1984, right? It's the 2 minutes of hate. It's the hate, 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 hate. And then Donald Trump comes on, and it's their moment of love. It's Big Brother. It's their hero. So keep in mind, even as they claim to go against Donald Trump, the Nick Fuentes of the world, the Alex Joneses of the world, they still plan to position themselves in power and or a position of influence, in particular media influence. And that sense, a person with a certain amount of media clout has power like a politician, has power like a modern Hitler. And that's a power that Alex Jones has held onto. And that's something that I called out from day one. So keep that in mind. We need to counter these dark signals and intentions with a symbol of our own. I don't know what it is, but what I can say is there is power in the Magical Battle of Britain by Dion Fortune. And when you look at Emilia, however you might pronounce that, the UK avatar that has been reappropriated for a neo-Nazi agenda for remigration of the Muslim migrants in the UK. We see the use of magic. We see how this is real. We see how they seem to be, tapping into the itch of the Crusades, how this is global. We could see it in the imagery, in the AI videos for Emilia, right? Where she's basically knighting someone, so there's the imagery of the knight, and the sword. And that's very symbolic. And that was something that the Nazis tapped into, I believe, at least Arthur or Merlin. And it was something that Dion Fortune tapped into. It didn't necessarily have just a negative use. It had a positive use also. And so that's what we're seeing right now. And unless we start to see people grounded, pushing back against that, they're going to be overtaken by the dark signal and the symbols that are out there, promoting hatred, promoting lust, promoting greed, promoting envy, promoting racism, promoting animalism, promoting animal-human hybrids, which I've talked about for years, but not lately. Predicting the rise of the new man, as opposed to a positive new man with evolved genetics, as a result of diverse human beings such as myself coming together that are a mix of the East and the West, for those that don't know. And so you have been lied to your whole life about people like me being a virus. I am a mix of the East and the West. My father comes from the land of the bombed. My mother is a multi-generational Oregonian. So I know from my life experience that the evil one has taken over this society. Okay? Resist the signal. Okay? Resist the evil. And wake up that there is an agenda right now, right, to entrap you, to enslave your soul. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to hit the like button.